Well, hello, my creepy babes. It is spoopy season, and I'm finally getting in the festivities. But it's definitely a very interesting topic today because I'm going to kind of go back to like karmic relationships and their purpose, just to kind of reiterate that because it goes hand in hand with this topic today. But before I get started, hi, it's Spiritual, and if you're new to this channel, we do 3 card pull readings. And yeah, if you want to skip ahead, you don't really feel called to the reading, just skip like 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, this is just a confirmation of the energy, the topic that we're talking about. And yeah, so the first card, there is a huge shift. I don't know if you're like aware of this shift, but if you can feel it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is like with that last full moon, praise Jeebus, we are finally, we're not actually praising Jeebus, but the full moon has brought open a lot of doors. It's opening, like, you see how it's almost there's 2 pillars here, but it's almost like a gateway. Like, we're going through like this giant shift to kind of like really bring in our blessings, because some of the karmic lessons were actually blocking a lot of things for us, but it was really necessary. I know that sounds strange, but it was really necessary to understand what we really want. And that is actually going to go back into what we're talking about, the karmic situationships. And yeah, so the King of Pentacles. I'm not sure. Maybe this is for specifically for a lot of female babes. I'm sure more of the female babes will probably be more called to listen to the romantic type of videos, but this is definitely for masculine energy as well. So maybe it's just masculine energy all around. But the King of Pentacles, it's really about bringing things in and making things happen. The King of Pentacles, you see how he's a harvester. He's got like these corn stalks behind him, and he's got his pentacle right there in his hand. He's got the duck on his head. I said duck, buck on his head, and he's just majestic, and he's got these green golden wings. He is the bringer of change. He opens these gateways for us with the full moon energy, and in a lot of ways it is our intuitive guidance. Is Yeah, it is masculine, but on a different scale. The masculine is kind of like more of a dormant energy within us, and the feminine, if you're a female, is more of a prominent type of energy that we experience. But the Ace of Wands is basically, the way I like to see this card is this is like the tree of life, and it's being held by another green hand, and he has all of these different colored tails, which are basically different options, different paths that we can take in life. And that is very, very important, going back to situationships, figuring out exactly what we want, like on a spiritual level. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we don't know what we want, and that's why we go through things and we settle for experiences that are not meant for us, and sometimes highly toxic. But that goes into a much deeper topic. It's not really what we're focused on, but really understanding that you go through the situationships, you go through the karmic relationships to learn more about yourself and other people, what your limitations are, what your boundaries are, and how you can really reciprocate that type of love and energy back towards somebody who does it for you, because it has to be a balance, an equal exchange of energy in any type of healthy relationship, right? Like, we get kind of drawn to these toxic patterns, these toxic habits, like when we're really attached, when we have attachments to individuals and just the euphoria of relationships themselves. Because okay, so like, how many times have you either love bombed or been love bombed by somebody else, and you get all these like tingly feelings and romance at the very beginning? It's heightened emotions at the beginning of your relationship, and then you realize there's going to be a down part to that situationship, and it happens every time. It never fails. That is because we are getting karmically drawn to somebody's energy. We are getting either lust, which is, I'm not trying to, I don't want to take this, as a negative. Don't, when I say the word lust, don't look at it so negatively, but it's a characteristic that is temporary. Like, we get older, we age, we're not always going to be beautiful goth babes, but we age, and we eventually just transition out of those wants and desires anyway. And that's like why most of the time you'll get bored of somebody's character because they aren't really how they represented themselves at first. Sometimes we put on a character. It is kind of going back to our astrological signs. Our primary sign is who we project out into the universe, and our secondary or ascending sign and our moon signs are more about our personality traits and who we are like internally and privately. So that's just kind of like, something to really think about is like, don't analyze somebody's birth chart. It's not going to go very well. I mean, sometimes you can analyze something pretty well, but don't overthink it, don't overanalyze. I'm just fair warning. But it kind of it explains a little bit of that energy. Like we in society, it doesn't matter if you have a spiritual ego, a manifested ego, or if you have just a heightened ego from like material world. They're two different things. But anyway, so like we all have this ego that we project down to the world to not even necessarily get a form of acceptance, but it's just who we are, like through our experiences and our likes or dislikes. We like to show people that we are an individual with likes, and it's how we get to know people, it's how we connect with people. And though it's not like on the purest form of authentic, it is still our authentic self. It's just our primary projecting self. It's not nothing bad about it. It's just we tend to be different people in different situations and different energy. Like we're different when we're outside in the regular world than when we are back in our homes, just cozy in our pajamas, train wreck, hair and all. It's okay. It's fine. And people will accept that part of you because when you are your authentic self and when you express that authenticity through like the relationship, you're more likely and to find your soulmate. Like when I say the word twin flame, it puts like this stab in my chest, but it's okay because we got over all that trauma. It's really about the self-love experience because there's the runner and the chaser. It's not the focus of the topic today, but I just wanted to bring that up. You can find your twin flame or your soulmate or just, a loving, healthy relationship through this process of discovery. You discover who that person is, and they discover who you are, and then in a lot of ways, you discover who yourself is. Like we reflect our energy, and the energy gets reciprocated, and well, maybe not reciprocated, but reflected back towards us subconsciously. So not consciously, they're not going to reciprocate because they see you reciprocating them. Sometimes, yeah, in an intellectual level, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about energy connections, like soul ties, How many times have you heard about a soul contract? Like, yes, they are real, but they can be, you can break ties with people. If it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you, and you will feel that on a soul level. Trust me. But like, you draw in, it's like the law of attraction. It's exactly like the law of attraction. You bring in what is meant for you and what feels right energetically because the world's going to like feel that energy and it's going to be like, oh, well, this right here, this is going to be the best match for the type of energy that we're experiencing right now. So like when you're in a lower sense of energy, a low vibrational frequency, you're going to bring in low vibrational frequencies. When you're in a high vibration, you're going to bring in high vibration. And it does not necessarily mean that you guys are going to have like some glorious relationship where you'll never fight or argue about anything. That is just not how the real world works. Sorry. We all have likes, we all have dislikes, and it's a part of being an individual. But my point is you will bring in these partners when you start being your authentic self around other people and when you start being true and authentic to yourself, because sometimes, most of the time, it's really about us and not who we're projecting and not who we want them to see us as, but it's who we really kind of think we need to be in order to really, I guess, get the benefit or get the love that we desire. And that's not really how things work because the universe is going to understand that you're not being authentic and you're maybe not necessarily lying to yourself, but you're not being true about what you really desire. Like the world doesn't want you to settle, but if you do settle, you're going to settle. That's just like the universe isn't going to stop you from settling. It's going to give you signs. It's going to give you all those red flags, and it's going to give you like It's gonna make you feel uncomfortable on purpose, so you can understand the signs. But we don't always tap into that. Let's be real with ourselves. We don't always tap into that type of energy. Sometimes we are not true to ourselves and about what we really want and desire out of life. And so going through all these situationships, going right back to it, they bring you into your authentic self. They bring you into your true self because it allows you, it teaches you, and it shows you through situations that you don't want to be a part of certain type of lifestyles. You don't want to fit in with something that doesn't match your frequency. You want somebody that matches your frequency. This goes with like relationships and friendships, everything. Like you want somebody who's gonna have like this like equal balance with you. Like that's what we desire the most out of life. If it's not that greasy cheeseburger. Sorry, I'm a little hungry. But like we really desire authenticity, and if we are being authentic with ourselves more than anything, then we can really start to attract better things for us that feels right. And we don't have to feel that fight, we don't have to feel that struggle. It feels natural. You do not get the euphoric, and well, maybe that one's a little harder to tell because there's like this difference between anxiety, well, maybe not anxiety, but anxious love and authentic, real connection, because there is like this frequency and this knowing and this love that you do know when somebody is meant for you. But then there's also this other energy, and it gets really mixed up. It's hard to kind of tell the difference sometimes if you're not really into the whole, shadow work. But like, it's going to make you anxious in a lot of ways. You're going to have a lot of doubts, and that's a big warning sign, and you're going to see red flags, and the universe is going to be like, hey, Bish, did you see that? Did you see that happening? Because we warned you. Yep, we warned you, so you better start listening. Because we're gonna go throw another one, and if you don't listen to that one, well, you doomed. Not really, but it's going to like take you through a process, and it's going to allow you to have multiple chances. It's not going to. Its job is not to torment you. I promise you. Sometimes it does feel that way. It really does. But it is really a learning process. We have to remember that Earth is a school. We're here to learn, and we're here to learn about ourselves more than anything and other people. So just understand that it's a learning process. And when you vibe with somebody, it's not always going to be like, a forever thing. Sometimes people are temporary and they teach us valuable lessons. And sometimes those don't have to be karmic relationships either. Sometimes they're just healthy relationships and they end. It's not a big deal. And you'll learn that because they become a lot easier to kind of step away from when you start realizing that healthy relationships can be managed quite well. And yeah, so understand that the karmic lessons, all the situationships that I've been talking about for like 13 minutes now, have really brought a purpose into your life. And maybe it was very frustrating, and I am not, devaluing that. It was a very frustrating process. It really was. Be real with yourself because that is a part of the healing process. We go through trauma, and it is real and is valid. I'm not telling you that it's not, okay? So be real with yourself and give yourself time to heal from wounds. Give yourself time, a lot of time, all the time you need, babe, to heal from trauma wounds, because those things are real, and they're not damaging, but they can keep us in patterns. And when we start recognizing the patterns by going through re-experiencing things, and we can start recognizing them, becomes much easier to recognize them intellectually. So that is a very important shift with what we're experiencing with this full moon. Going back to it, there's a huge shift. Let shifts happen, right? That was another video that I did just a few days ago. Watch that one as well, because there's some important things happening in the universe around us on a grand scale, and individually with relationships, because we're here to experience love, fulfillment, soul fulfillment, gratitude, and just creation. We love to create. So this is a time for harvesting. We are here during the hunter's moon. We just had the full moon pass. I think it was like Sunday or something. I don't know. My calendar's been really crazy this week. I think it was the ninth. But yeah, so there's been a lot of like retrogrades too, and we've had to go through a lot of shadow work. There was a big big period of shadow work and going through a dark night of the soul. Not everyone experienced it, but a good portion of us spiritual creatures did experience it with the full moon. It cleansed a lot of things for us. We may have had some strange dreams that came back to kind of reiterate some of our traumas, but not amplify them, just to kind of let us know that we are stronger now. So, take acknowledgement of that. Give yourself credit. Give your give yourself damn credit for that, because that was a lot. That was a lot. That was a big process that you went through and experienced, and having to re-experience things is not something that anybody wants to or needs to do, but sometimes it's very important because we've gone through some really bad things, and we felt really stuck. And sometimes it takes a couple times to get yourself unstuck, and that's okay too. So, learn that this is a transition period, or understand that this is a transition period. This is not even really a transition period, we're just going through a shift. Like, timelines are shifting and in our favor. So, like, you went through the hard things to get to the golden gate of abundance. So, you're okay here. I promise you. Relationships, though, let's get into a little bit more of that. I don't want to talk too long because I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter, but really, you're going to find somebody within this time period, and more so, you're going to focus more on yourself. And this is just, maybe it's kind of like, I don't know, not super beneficial that I tell you this, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to happen this way either way. You're going to be focusing in on yourself during your abundance period, your selfish phase. Totally okay. Don't let anybody else tell you that. Otherwise, okay? Because we go through our selfish phase to really, it is not necessarily selfish, like, oh, all I care about is myself. It's really just about self-care. So it's like your selfish era is all about you. It's all about manifesting, not even just manifesting, it's just being in your power, being in your soul environment and what you really wanted out of this life when you came here, because we're here to experience the best out of life. And it's really important to understand what we want to do financially, creatively. I don't think that was a word, but and romantically, because let's be real, like, we all want to experience romance. We all deserve to experience romance. We're here to create life, and that is a part of life. So, relationships, they will happen for you when you least expect it. When you're focused in on yourself and you're in your highest energy, your highest power, it's going to come in for you when you're completely distracted. You won't see it coming. And it's like, well, why am I watching this video though? Because we're here to learn. And just because you don't know or because you do know it's gonna happen doesn't it's going to still surprise you. The universe works in mysterious ways, and it's going to surprise you because it's like literally the only way it works. So if you're really wanting to find something, like, let go of the desire. Like, okay, I'm gonna talk about another video that I did. Like, the best way to manifest is to be specific about your manifestations. Put them in a jar. Put them in a journal, and just make sure the universe hears you, and then stick with the plan. Stick with your manifestations, do the action, do the steps, because magic doesn't happen out of thin air, even though a lot of people think it does. Hocus pocus. But you will be in your highest form. You'll be in your desire, or not even your desire, you'll be just focused in on, like, happiness. And that's when things going to go great for you, because you're going to be in a healthier mind state. You're going to really be focused in on what you want, which is really the most important focal point of all of these situationships, is because it allows you to teach yourself what you really desire. And it's going to, you're just going to have to accept that, because going through and just having that focus on wanting love, you're going to be not necessarily stuck. Sometimes it will work out in a positive way when that is your desire and you're just sticking with your desire. Like, you can manifest relationships by wanting a relationship. I know it sounds a little bit redundant. It's a different type of energy when you're obsessed and attached to wanting a relationship, and then when it's just a desire. It's something that you want to experience. Like, no biggie. You know what I mean? So, and So don't overthink this process either, because I'm not trying to throw you off by saying these things, but like don't think that because you're wanting and desiring something, it's not going to happen for you. That's not what I'm saying either. But I'm just saying the universe likes to surprise us, and that's just usually how it works for the most part. So, yeah, let these blessings come in for you during this hunter season, during the harvest. I guess we just had the harvest moon, but it is still harvest season because it's fall. I really like to think of all the it's and I'm so sorry. I'm not great with these mm, holidays, but we're when we're here for Thanksgiving or Samhain, I am so bad. There's gonna be people making fun of me in the comment section. It's cool, do it. But like it's all about like showing gratitude to the gods. It's all about showing gratitude to our family, what we have and what we experience. So we have these giant feasts. We create offerings on our altar, and we just, we're here in happiness. We make gifts. We buy gifts for our families, for our loved ones, and it's just a time to celebrate. So understand that this is a time for celebration. It's time to honor yourself and be in the zone, because you experience love when you are experiencing self love. So understand that should be your focus, and it will happen for you. And do your shadow work, because shadow work is the key to abundance. Because when we start realizing what our wants, our desires are, what our needs are, and what we are capable of with boundaries, very important. Boundaries, super important. Like, do all the inner work, do all the shadow work, and just watch the process. Watch the process, because this is like, I can explain it to you for like another half an hour, but it's not really gonna stick the right way until you just learn that it's a part of the experience and the process. So, this video is more so about respecting the process and just understanding it and not fighting it so much, because when we fight the shift, we get more chaotic. I know that from experience. Like, don't block more of your blessings by overthinking things and just having an anxious feeling. Focus on yourself, and watch the beauty of all of these beautiful cards that we got today. The Ace of Wands, the King of Pentacles, the Moon was here to confirm everything for us. Like, it's happening. So if you want some more tips on relationships and not situationships, we can talk about that in the next video. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below, because I will answer your questions. I've done that for other people before. Like, they've asked me what topics they wanted me to cover, and I made a video. I like getting ideas for content, but I do also have a book of content. I'm not expecting you guys to make this channel for me. Just kidding. But seriously, like, if you guys really have any questions, you can always inbox me too if you don't feel comfortable asking them in the comment section. You always inbox me on like Facebook, Instagram, all of those social media accounts. I'm really, really great at responding to those for the most part. So, if you are wanting a reading, I'm doing a special this week. If for private readings, you can check them out on my website at spiritual.online. Book the calendar on, it's just services. If you go to services, you can book through there, and then I will be doing a special for the rest of the month, just because I'm having a little bit more of an open schedule. I'm getting back on track with things. I had a lot of people visiting, and I'm just getting much more focused in on what I'm supposed to be doing. My hair's a little crazy. Don't doubt me. But seriously, like, if you want a reading, I'm doing discounted readings for the rest of the month. So check it out on spiritual.online, and you guys have a great day. Bye.